I'm gonna ask Jen. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Like, what's your sense of how the church has changed in any way, either temporarily or things that you think might have a long-standing implication?
I think some of it has forced us to figure out how to commune with one another in different ways because, we were trying to obey whatever laws were put forth, and we were maintaining bubbles like everybody else, so we weren't coming together for things like singing and that kind of stuff. And so it forced us to look outside the box and figure out how do we keep a close-knit communion with each other, because that's really difficult to do when you're trying to just live your day-to-day life and recognizing that you really have to stay in your house. You can't just go and do anything you want to do like you used to be able to do. And so I think it forced us to look at things in a different way. And in some ways I think it pushed us closer. Like he was talking about, you're watching all this war outside, but we were determined that was not going to be. We don't have contention in the house of the Lord, and we weren't going to do it that way. We were going to figure out how to walk together, even though we can't be together. So I think it was a really good exercise on that front.
Will it have any kind of lasting effect that way?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you're going to fall back if this goes like, a thing where this is endemic and everything just kind of goes back to normal. I think some of that might fall away, but I think it also has put more tools in our toolbox. And so if something else pops up where we're in some situation like this again, we have more tools to use, the things we can go to recognize how to commune with each other, even though we're not necessarily right next to each other.
Yeah.
And you touched, I actually meant to mention that concept of the law you touched on. That was a big deal. The scriptures require that we submit ourselves to the ordinances of men unless they're in direct defiance of the law of God. And so when, all this political wrangling, so when she said we maintained the bubbles and did all that stuff, yeah, I mean, as long as that's what the law of this state was, we obeyed the law, and we were careful to obey, including we go out on these streets and they had laws about you couldn't have more than
10?
Whatever, some small number of people at any kind of a public gathering. Of course, when we're standing on the street, we're going out in our little bubbles anyway. I mean, it's just for me to take my family, that already breaks the law. So we were very carefully continuing to be out on the streets preaching, but we would go in small groups and we would stand 10 feet apart and whatever all the rules were, and just made sure to
Masks on.
You're standing out there
even though you
in
didn't
the
need to.
dead of the summer wearing a mask all by yourself, but we did it. That's what they required. Okay, we're not going to fight you over it because we still have a way to do what we believe we're supposed to do, so we'll just obey.
It wasn't directly in contradiction